My name is Igal, and you're watching Small Business, Big Leaders. Let's do this.
Join us as we find, follow, and feature courageous, committed, and culture-oriented business leaders on Small Business, Big Leaders.
On this episode of Small Business, Big Leaders, we're highlighting Beck Bamberger and her business, BAM Communications. I'm so excited to have Beck Bamberger on the show. Beck, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
After like 4 people saying, you need to interview Beck for the show, I said, that's it.
You're
I gotta
here.
get you on.
You're here.
We're finally here. Thanks for
In
having
the
us.
safari
That's
land.
right.
I
With
love
all the
it.
animals. It's great. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So let's get into it.
Sure.
I want to talk about business and leadership, right? Something that you're great at. We walked in here, tons of employees. The place has a great vibe to it.
Thank
So
you.
tell us about BAM Communications, why you started it, and what it is.
BAM Communications right now represents what we like to say barrier-breaking technology companies, usually venture-backed, fast-growing. They're usually collecting money from a Series A, Series B, and they're doing something that is moving the mark in their industry or their vertical. So we're not interested in, an app that helps your dog get treats faster. More so companies that are doing something quite innovative in maybe AI with the health tech component to it, something that may be driving industry and construction technology, and things that are actually viably making a dent in the world, saving people's lives and so forth. And that's our main focus. In terms of what we do, it's about getting these types of clients showcased in all types of media, whether it's in a Bloomberg or on CNBC or in a TechCrunch or USA Today. They're coming to us because they want that editorial media exposure.
Nice. So I want to go back in time a little bit.
Yes.
If that's okay. I went to your website, tons of information there.
Yes.
Right? Graduated at 19.
Yes.
Got your MBA at 21.
From UCLA, yes. Yeah, and then I
Right?
went to Miami.
So from 21 to now, what happened?
A lot of things. This is only a 20-minute interview,
Right, just
so
quickly,
okay. So
what's
like
going
quick
on?
clip notes is, well, I'm from San Diego.
Okay.
Love it here. My parents are still here. Loved everything about it, so of course I wanted to come back. Came back, was working at NBC, the local station here. At that time, I already had a number of internships in television. So working on certain shows, doing the producer, being the line producer, sending the copies to everybody. I mean, like the grunt work, the bottom of the barrel. And I knew that, I wanted to do my own TV show that was hosting and showcasing business leaders, people like Ralph Rubio here in the community. How'd you IPO Rubio's? How did it start with the fish taco and so forth? So eventually I did my own TV show, which was great. And we ran that on a couple of stations here. Then, or somewhere in the midst of that, I got introduced to a PR executive here in town who had his own company for several years. And he had a team of maybe 10 or so. And while I was working on a certain season of a show, I was in his office. And via, just osmosis, I picked up, this is what PR is. This seems kind of, I could do this. Maybe it's going to be easy. Yeah. And I thought, I'm going to start my own firm. I'm going to start that. So then I started my own firm, BAM. And at first it was just local stuff. I had no training in this whatsoever. So a lot of my team has been at firms, went to school for public relations. None of this. This is a fully hacked, piece by piece, figuring it out at a time. Now, thankfully, there's people here who have done this for many years, so there's many things to learn. But it was really hacked along the way. And at this point now, we're about 30 folks, some in New York, some here. And we represent clients all over the world, but a lot in San Francisco, Los Angeles, and so forth. And that's where we are now. And we're interested in growing the company to an acquisition by a big PR firm. So that's our how we win the game. That's our game, but that's how we would know, we got it to win.
there.
And then I did some other stuff, like I had a food tour company, sold that. We sold that last year. That was fun. We started something else. There's always things to dabble in, but the main focus is BAM.
Now, in the pre-interview, we talked about being the first female on the show.
It's taking some time.
Right? Sorry,
It's taking some time.
I apologize.
Yeah.
But like everybody said, you have to get back, so I waited.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So you're special.
Okay. Way to save yourself.
Right?
I like it. Okay.
So in the pre-interview, we talked about that whole thing about being a female boss and the CEO, like you said, and you kind of have an idea about that. Why don't you tell everybody what you think?
I got an idea about that.
Yeah.
It is, there does not need to be the added prefixes or any adjectives of CEO or girl boss or anything. It's just boss. It's just
Leader.
CEO. It's just leader.
Yeah.
And so my perspective on this has been there's been too much of the pendulum swing towards emphasizing the female aspect, and really the emphasis should be on producing and growing and mentoring great leaders regardless of sex or regardless of sexual orientation or whatever they even identify with now. It's very, I think, a little funny to think it's very binary. It's male or it's female, but there's a whole spectrum. So who even knows, right? And so it seems too much of focus is misdirected on just focusing on that and leveraging that. Now, I'm not saying programs should not be directed towards that, or there should be help and resources to help bring females into the fold or any minority into the fold. It's more so to de-emphasize it so that we can have a conversation on just, no, it's leadership, it's being a boss, it's being a CEO, and there doesn't need to be an extra adjective or an association with something else.
Like you said before, being a badass is just being a badass.
Yeah, you don't need to have a subgroup. It almost seems, to me, it almost seems like a subgroup,
Gotcha.
and we don't need to emphasize that. No.
Right. You talked about having 30 employees.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
About-ish.
About-ish.
You start losing count.
Yeah, and so growing from something that you hacked into what it is now, what's the hardest part of it all?
It does not get easier. It gets different. And actually, this was almost verbatim. I did not get this from the book, but Ray Dalalo has a book out, Principles. He's from the big hedge fund group, everything. And now this book, after his almost 40-year career, spans this. And there's a part in the book that I just read that talks about, oh yeah, there's always challenges. They don't evaporate. You don't get to a size with, oh, well, I hired that person and I'm done. Oh, we got to that amount of money and oh, it's all easy. Or that there's always different problems. There's always different problems to solve. And I would even say, if it does get easy, if there's ever a moment where you're going, wow, I'm really coasting, you are not pushing yourself enough. You need to refigure out what else you can hone in on or push to the next level, because you're probably getting a little bit lazy and a little bit cushy. There should not be a point, if you are pushing yourself and you are striving, that you're coasting and it's comfortable and it's easy. It should not be easy. It just gets different.
Which segues beautifully into the uncomfortable experiences.
This is one of my favorite things. This is one of my favorite things. Yeah.
Right? So you talk about being comfortable and getting out of the bubble and being, and you push yourself to be uncomfortable.
Yes.
And you've done some wild stuff. Tell us.
So, first, if you're going to start a business and you're going to grow a business, that's uncomfortable enough.
100%.
But if you want to next level that, and you want to get even sharper with it, there are all types of things that you can do to be uncomfortable. You can think of probably a few things right now that you're like, oh, I really, I don't want to do that. I wouldn't like to do that. Like anything you go, I don't want to, that's the uncomfortable stuff. And everyone has uncomfortable things. Your uncomfortable things are very different from mine, though, because we're all different people with different backgrounds and all this stuff. But everyone can have some edge of the bubble of what is comfortable versus comfortable. It's not that you're ever done with the practice. You just need to consistently do the practice to keep pushing on the edge, because there's no like, oh, you're at the finish line. It's the edge of what is comfortable just grows. So in business life, it's amazing when you do this practice and do the really hard things that you're pushing against, that you come back into your business environment or your life, your day-to-day life, and go like, wow, it's much easier. Like, oh, there's a problem, there's a disaster at work. Like, it's not as bad because at least I'm not naked. Like literally things like that. Yeah. So it's so great, and I would say particularly for entrepreneurs who already feel, oh, I'm already doing uncomfortable stuff. It sharpens the saw. It gets you to the next point, and then things that used to bug you really will dissolve quickly and not.
Oh, that's awesome.
And that's the cool part.
Yeah, I respect the courage, because there's some things in that list I think about and say like,
see,
man,
start making your list.
Yeah, right. And then I'll show it to you, and then you'll tell me.
See,
it's good.
Yeah.
So 30 employees.
Okay.
What has that done to your leadership here, and how do you create the culture so that there's more success for the company?
So, on the culture thing, it does not just originate from one person. So people think, oh, I have to set the culture. It's an organic multifaceted thing that is contributed to by each person who's here, which means, even more importantly, each person who's here has something to contribute to it, and either is going to hurt it, harm it, contribute to it, make it flourish, all those different things. So you kind of have to think of it as kind of this ecosystem or this thing in nature that's always evolving, and that you are a player in it, of course, and you get to be, as maybe the boss, the one who selects in who's in the ecosystem. But that's kind of about it. So in terms of, what do we do? And I can say this right now, we're about to have a surprise bridal shower for, no, not bridal shower, baby shower for one of our employees. She has no idea. I didn't come up with that. I didn't say, hey guys, we need you. Someone came on my team and said, hey, wouldn't it be great if we did this and this and that? I'm like, yeah, great, do that. So you're more of a shepherd, I believe, in the entrepreneurial role, and you need to cultivate the ecosystem of the culture. In terms of the leadership aspect of it, as more and more people will come to an organization, they also draw in others to the organization. And what I'm having conversations about with people right now on the team is, especially those who have not had, big teams or small teams even under them, is the fact that people come for you. They come for you. You can always make more money, you can always find more perks, you can always be working at Tesla or Google, let's say, or whatever. You can always be going after the greener grass of sorts for your career and whatnot. But a lot of people, when you ask them, stay and come to an organization because of who they work with, who their peers are, who their bosses are, and everything. So people who are leading other people in your team need to get that and need to understand, oh wow, maybe it's flattering for a moment, but more so it's the responsibility of knowing they're here for you. They really are at the end of the day, because they can make there's all these other options that they can take, but they're showing up for you, which means show them the respect, give them the tools that they need, ask them for the feedback, and encourage them more to have that feeling that they're here to show up for you, and they want to.
Love it. And so with that baby shower today,
Yes.
and you've created kind of the company to be able to have those ideas on their own.
Yeah.
And for you not to micromanage exactly everything that's happening.
I don't believe you micromanage culture. Then it's not authentic.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if you were to be like, here's a rainforest, and I'm going to decide when it rains and what animal eats what animal and what. It's not how exactly it works. It is an organic thing that needs to fuse all together, and it's going to come out. Now, if there is something that's damaging or killing the whole ecosystem of it, that's where, there's maybe things that need to be taken out of it, but it always goes back to people. It's never because of the type of business it is. We're in the trash business. Or, we're in the medical device business. It does not matter the business. You can have whatever culture, regardless of what the business is you're in, too. Which means, great, you can then decide who are the players involved and what you want to do with it. Mm-hmm.
What are some things that you have a line in the sand when it comes to your company? Like, if this happens, that's a no-go for me.
I will say it goes to our core values. And this is hire and fire. This is very cliche, but it is seriously true, is you hire and fire by your core values. Yep. One of our core values is positive. If you're a negative Nancy, pain in the ass, or asshole, that cannot be tolerated. Yeah. And it'll one of two things happens. That person cycles out themselves because it's like, whoa, this is not my people. Or two, that person's just eliminated. You're fired. So you need to stick to those core values. So for me, it's those. If it was someone who came in here every day, bad attitude, negative, that would be gone. If it's someone who's just kind of, bump on a log and just kind of, every day. No, proactive is one of our core values. So you can't be just riding down the road. It's not even a business that can succeed. The type of business we're in public relations, you need to be, on it. So that would be the line. That would be the type of line.
Gotcha.
And then the reverse is true with the type of clients we bring on board too, because we have a selection criteria for that, but it also goes to those core values. So if we're talking to a potential company, and they're doing this really radical technology, and they sound so interesting, but we're talking to the marketing person who we talk to, and that person is an ass, we're probably going to say, there's things we'll say like, you know what, no, because this person's not going to be a positive person to work with or team to work with. It's going to be a nuisance, and in the end of the day, people are not going to want to deal with that from our team. So that would be a client we don't even take on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you choose that clientele. Once you see that, you're like,
you have to suss it out.
Thank you.
You have to suss it out.
Gotcha. So let's get back to the 5 a.m. running, right?
Yes.
Because that's I heard a great phrase 2 weeks ago, which is discipline equals freedom.
It's very true.
And if you wake up at 5 a.m. every day, run every day,
Yeah.
that's got to be some discipline.
And you know what else? No one calls you at 5 a.m. Not even the New York team.
Yeah.
So not even our East Coast team. People say. So that for me, I'm already a morning person. And if you look at my family, my dad is a super morning person. My mom is a sleeper. My sister is a sleeper. So it's like whatever
You got your
gene that
father.
we got it from that. So for me, it's my sanctuary. It's my sanity. I get to listen to all types of books. I get to think. I get to go review over goals. I do vocabulary words because I love words. I mean, it's just kind of like my time that is not intercepted, that is not misscheduled or somehow derailed. I could not do the like 4 o'clock gym out workout or like 7 p.m. like that because you just get, for me, you get consumed by, oh, well, I got to do that thing and someone knows I know that thing. That doesn't work for me. So when people say, oh, I just don't have time, the thing is, we all have the same 24 hours a day. Every person, Elon Musk even has 24 hours a day. So how great is that? It just wipes the board clean of the have-nots or the have-many or whatever, whoever you are. We all have the same amount of hours a day. So how you use it is up to you. And your time allocation could then be figured out to be the best use of your time with what you want to do and what you want to accomplish. So mine is the 5 a.m. so I can get that out of the way. I'm charged up for the day. I love it. Great. I'm fresh. You know, my mind is clear and everything. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's noontime for someone else or something. But you need to have that, or else you'll become reactionary.
Now, because there's business owners and leaders watching this, what are 3 things that you think a business owner should be disciplined in order for their company to get to the next level?
What you are winning with the game you have set. That is the number one thing. So let's say, first of all, if you're running a business, if you start your own business, you basically selected the game you want to play. What is the game you want to play? You want to grow a small business, you want to have eventually 10 employees, you want a lifestyle business, you want to retire at 40, you want to change the world, whatever your game is. Then, how do you know you won the game? Because the worst is when you don't have a goal and you don't when you hit it, you don't know if you're there because you never really figured out where you are. So defining how you win the game, because it's fun to win. It's fun to win, and you're in your own game.
Right? Yeah.
So that's why you're doing it. And then you can do the next, game or the next thing in life. So I'm all about that, and I'm a competitive too, as many entrepreneurs are. So figuring out, okay, what's the game I'm playing? How do I know I won the game? And then sticking to playing that game. You cannot be on the field of multiple games at a time. So you need to stick to, the shiny stuff that people get confused by or like get all over the place. You got one game at a time, typically. Yeah. One main game at the time that you are winning for, and then execute and focus all attention on winning. I'm also a big fan of let everyone else know how you're going to win the game and what you were trying to win, so that everyone can be focused, everyone can be driving towards, and everyone knows that. Some people say, "Oh, well, you shouldn't tell your staff, you shouldn't tell your employees like how what your plan is." Like, I'm transparent. Why would you not want your leaders and the people that are trying to work for you to accomplish something not to know what the game plan is? That just seems unwise to me.
Well, I think it's the same aspect that all the leaders that we've interviewed so far, they say the same thing.
Oh,
be transparent,
right.
Be open with your
Yeah.
employees. A lot of business owners say, like, and open what I mean, like what the goals are, how you're going to get there,
Yes.
as opposed to like, oh, I'm not going to tell them,
Yes.
we're just going to.
And I don't think that's a millennial thing, by the way. I'm really getting tired of, just
Yeah, I
transparency
agree.
is so millennial. It's like, that's just people.
Yeah.
People want to know what the plan is to marshal after something. That's just good leadership.
Yeah.
That
They
is
wanna
not
know
a
the mission.
generational situation.
Yeah. They want to know the mission to help you get there.
Yeah.
So they can get there as well.
Yeah.
Awesome. So before we wrap up, a
Yes.
couple more questions.
Okay.
One is, how can people find you?
Okay. That's
right?
easy.
If they
That's
want to
easy
hear
one.
about your uncomfortable
Yeah.
experiences or BAM Communications.
Okay. So for my personal website, it's just beckbamberger.com. Easy. My information is there.
And we'll put that down
Or
here
you can put
somewhere.
it down here somewhere. And then BAM is just bamcommunications.biz, B-I-Z. And that's the website for the PR firm. You can see all our clips and team and good stuff like that.
Awesome. The last question I ask
Yes.
everybody is, who was a leader in your life? And explain to us why.
I was thinking about this morning. I'm like, do I want to go with the cliche answer? I have to go with the cliche answer because it's been someone I've been watching since I was a child, and it's Oprah. It seriously is
Okay.
Oprah. And I know it sounds like, oh God, like you had to pick Oprah, and then you had to do TV and try to be Oprah and all that stuff. But seriously, that is a cultural icon of our time, unprecedented for many, many, many reasons. But someone who, in the function of storytelling, which I love stories and I love storytelling, changed the face of how that was done for decades, and is still doing that. So the long form, the sit down, the interviews, the things she does now, like in her forest at her Santa Barbara place, like that wasn't done. That wasn't a lot of what was done in a casual, like homey setting, and a real deep dive, and even on the soft stuff, or that was really driven by her.
When you said cliche, I for the first time read her story like a month ago.
Oh.
And what she went through and what
Oh
she
my God.
dealt with, from the traumas, the setbacks, and to where she is today, it's like bravo. You can say Oprah anytime.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I don't care. I'll say it forever. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Awesome. Beck, thank you so much
Thank
for being
you
on the
for being
show.
here.
It's been incredible. And check out the other episodes of Small Business Big Leaders online. And check out Beck. She's awesome. And make a list of uncomfortable experiences.
Yes. Email me if you're having
And get
trouble.
it done. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching Small Business Big Leaders. If you know a great business leader, go to smallbusinessbigleaders.com to nominate them for a show. Thanks.